Okay, so today let's go over the warm-up. So on a word problem, we always go straight to the question. And it's asking for domain. So domain is our X, and it moves left to right. So then I'm going to look at my answer choices. I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to get rid of C because that says Y, and I'm going to get rid of D because that is the wrong one because it's talking about our range, and our question is asking for domain. Then I'm going to look, and I'm going to go left to right. So my far left point is right here. My far right point is right here, and it goes to 12. So then I look at my answer choices. A is incorrect because 14 is the wrong number, so B is the correct one. Notice I didn't need to read any of this. Here, which one represents a function? This is a fancy way of asking you which one is a function. Remember, on this one, x's cannot repeat on a table. And then on a graph, it has to pass a vertical line test, right? So here, I'm going to go straight to here. Vertical line test, it fails on both of these because it touches the graph twice. So it touches once here and once here. So that's not a function. It touches one here and touches one here on the same axis. So that's not a function. So I'm going to look at my tables. The -2 and the -2 are repeating, so that's not my function. So when I look at C, none of the x's are repeating, and so therefore that is my answer. And then here, again, we go straight to the question, right? So always go straight to the question. Which equation represents? That is, anytime you see that, that's just telling you again, fancy way of which one's correct. Axis of symmetry. So that one means it's the line that goes directly down the middle. Okay, so down the middle of the graph. So whenever you draw a line, it's going to go directly down the middle of the graph. So here is the middle of the graph. Notice it is crossing the X and not the Y, so none of them should have a Y. And then B is incorrect, and so A is going to be your answer because the number it touched was -5. Now, for our lesson, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about rational exponents. So rational, again, is just a fancy way of saying like a fraction, a number less than 1, things like that. So here, let me break it down. So the 1, or I guess let's put a focus on the n. The n, if you notice, comes on the outside of the square root sign. Okay, so that's going to be a big thing that we're going to do. And then if you notice the 1, right, the 1, it kind of just disappears because, again, we don't write it. We don't write the invisible 1. So we're just going to rewrite these. Okay, so the 7 is my base. That's going to stay here. Okay, and there's just a 3. So that means it's going to be 1/3 is the best way to rewrite that. Okay, so that's just telling you that that's another way to write it. So the 1 actually goes underneath here, which we can't see. Okay, so there is a 1 here, and again, we can't see it, so that's going to go up top. So for B, there's going to be a 1 here. So again, when I rewrite that, my X is my base, my 1 goes in my numerator, my 5 goes in the denominator. Okay, so then if you need to make a little note, goes in the denominator. And again, that's the bottom part of the fraction. And then your 1 is going to go in the numerator. Okay. And then so go ahead and try. So now here for C, actually, let me have you do that. So you see how there are no numbers at all. Well, a square root, okay, in order to cancel it out, there needs to be a squared, right? So the reason there is no the reason there's no number is because the square root canceled the 2 out. So there is an invisible, anytime you don't see a number, there's an invisible 2 over here, an invisible 1. Again, it's just assumed that you guys know this. You may or may not, but that's just kind of what it's assumed. So even if you look at your calculator, the x squared, right in the gray part of it is the square root because they go hand in hand. So this is going to be y 1/2. okay? So now we're going to go the other way. This one, okay, I'm going to do the square root. My 8 stays the same. My denominator is going to come out here. So that's going to be my 4. My numerator is going to go on the inside, which is 1. But again, we don't ever write it, so it's a little 4 square root of 8. Notice it is not a big one, it's a little one, okay? Then here, same concept. I'm going to do z square root. 5 will go out here. And then my 1 is going to go over here. So then, again, I rewrite it. It's a little 5 square root of z. And that would be my final answer. So I want you to go ahead and try C. Now, if we're looking at our reference sheet, okay, you're going to have A m over n equals n a m. You're like, what is that, right? That's basically what we just did, but we wrote it differently. So I want you to put or, and again, it's just trying to get you to understand. Here's the exponent that we did. What we did this time is we created a fraction. And again, in simple terms, we took our denominator, we put it on the outside, and then we took our m and we put it on the inside. And again, you may not fully understand that, and that's okay, but it's just showing you that really and truly this rule connects to this. If you don't understand the mathematical equation, again, that's totally fine. So let's go ahead and get some practice. We're not going to do number 4, but we are going to do number 5. Okay, and again, this is page 589, my apologies. So another way to rewrite this, we're going to practice it. Is it my base is 2. My exponent on the outside is going to come my numerator. My exponent inside the parentheses is going to become my denominator. So my 4 goes here, my 3 goes there. And then that's it. So then again, there's an invisible 2 here that you can't see. Okay, so you have your 5. Your 4 is going to go in the numerator. Your 2 is going to go in the denominator, which simplifies to 5 squared. And that would be your answer. So again, the 4 went in your numerator, the 2 went in your denominator, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then you'll go ahead and try the next 2. We're not going to do the worked example or number 6, and then really and truly from here, you guys are just going to work on independent practice, which is going to be the simplifying the radical expressions, which we've done in the past. And again, we're not going to do number 8.